Opening the news broadcast will be the latest updates on the ongoing conflict between Russia and Ukraine, according to sources from the Win-Win Telegram channel. The confident advance of Russian forces towards Kharkiv has caused significant shock among high-ranking officials in Kyiv. Last night, President Zelensky was reportedly in a state of extreme panic, threatening to execute anyone who surrenders positions near Kharkiv and allows Russian troops to enter the city. This information was shared by the Russian news outlet Brigade. According to these sources, in addition to the panic over Russian advances, internal conflicts and accusations are occurring among Ukraine's top military leaders. Specifically, the head of Ukrainian intelligence, Kyiv, has accused Commander-in-Chief Alexander Syrsky of the failure in the military campaign in the Kharkiv area. Budanov has called on the Ukrainian government to conduct a legal assessment of Syrsky's actions. Updates on the situation in Kharkiv indicate that Russia has taken control of 10 villages in the past 4 days. Reports from the battlefield suggest that the crucial Ukrainian city of Volchansk may be captured in the coming days. The Brigade channel reports that Ukrainian forces are retreating to the southern outskirts of the city, trying to buy time before an inevitable defeat as Russian forces attack from 3 directions. Ukrainian forces have almost abandoned Volchansk after a final failed counterattack and have retreated to the southern outskirts of the city. Hoping to organize a defense at the Voronezh River, Ukraine has lost the village of Stara, and Russia continues its advance towards Ibis and Vavrovka. Moscow's forces plan to capture the village of Kyiv to deny Ukraine the opportunity to launch attacks from the east of Sarita and Jeleny. Russian successes have also been noted in the Lips area, with Ukrainian forces abandoning positions on the eastern shore of the Trevinaz Reservoir, trying to defend and buy time. The disaster for Kyiv on the Kharkiv front is exacerbated by Russia's continuous firepower advantage and high maneuverability, coupled with the lack of coordination among Ukrainian reserve forces consisting of various units. According to reports on the Kharkiv front, after capturing all high points in the northeast, Moscow's forces have fully controlled Ukraine's supply routes into Vask with artillery fire, effectively besieging the small city. Basov, the commander of a motorized rifle battalion of Russia's Northern Division, recently told RIA Novosti that Russian artillery has launched major attacks on Ukrainian armed forces positions, with assault units advancing en masse into the Kharkiv area. He noted that large-scale artillery preparations have facilitated easier entry for assault groups. Without proper artillery preparation, attacking aircraft would find it difficult to approach enemy positions, which are heavily fortified from small arms to heavy weapons. He emphasized that effective artillery preparation that hits targets and destroys heavy equipment of the Ukrainian armed forces helps reduce enemy morale and boost the spirit of Russian troops. While the UK and France have allowed Ukraine to use Storm Shadow missiles to attack targets within Russia, the US has not taken similar action. Washington is accused of being responsible for the difficulties faced by Ukrainian armed forces on the Kharkiv front. According to Politico, Ukrainian officials blame their main ally, the U.S., for the latest setbacks on the front lines. The U.S. administration has imposed a ban on using American weapons to attack targets on Russian territory, preventing Kyiv from taking timely action to preempt Russian military advances. Ukrainian military and political officials claim they were ready to act upon seeing the enemy's large-scale force concentration. But American politicians, fearing an escalation with Moscow, prohibited them from striking the detected targets with U.S. weapons. This, according to Ukraine, is why they are now in a reactive position on the battlefield. Former commander of the French Army's 7th Armored Brigade, General Nicolas Roque, recently stated that Russia's offensive in the Kharkiv area is forcing Ukrainian commanders to redeploy units from the Adka and Bakhmut areas to defend Kharkiv. In an interview with LCI television, General Roque observed that Ukraine had to withdraw forces from hotspots like Bakhmut and Adka, which weakened the southern front. He suggested that the redeployment of Ukrainian units from the Chaya and Adka areas aligns with Russia's strategic intent. He speculated that Russia aims to draw out Ukrainian reserve forces to destroy them. Earlier, Kirill Budanov, head of the main intelligence directorate of Ukraine's Ministry of Defense, acknowledged the worsening situation in Ukraine, stating that it would be difficult to move Ukrainian units to the Kharkiv area as they are focused on other regions. On May 15th, in a radio program by The Telegraph about the conflict in Ukraine, UK Defense Secretary Ben Wallace emphasized that sending British or other NATO troops to the Eastern European country would be meaningless. He stated that there are other ways to help Kyiv, without revealing further details. He noted that the UK has trained 65,000 Ukrainian soldiers since 2014, with most undergoing training since February 2022. He affirmed London's strong commitment to supporting Kyiv. The UK Defense Secretary acknowledged the severity of the situation for Ukrainian forces in the northeastern Kharkiv region, attributing this to the lack of attention from the civilized world. He urged these countries to follow the UK's example by providing more financial aid to ensure Ukraine has the necessary weapons, equipment, and training to defeat Russia. Moscow has not yet commented on the UK Defense Secretary's statements. According to defendblog.com on May 15th, the Russian armed forces have used Su-57 fighter jets to launch 6 cruise missiles at various targets in Ukraine over the past 30 days. The Su-57s reportedly took off from an airbase near the Ubin district in Russia's Astrakhan province, accompanied by 2 Su-35 fighter jets on dangerous missions. The Su-57s use K-69 cruise missiles, described by Russian media as Moscow's answer to Germany's Taurus missiles and the UK's and France's Storm Shadow SCALP missiles. K-69 missiles are specially designed for the Su-57 and can be stored inside the aircraft's fuselage. According to images released by Minchinu earlier this month, the Ukrainian military recovered a K-69 missile in a forest in the Kharkiv district of Ukraine. Russia has not commented on this information. Pro-Ukraine social media accounts on May 15th posted videos of BM-21 Grad multiple rocket launchers deployed on a road surrounded by civilian cars, causing traffic jams. Some vehicles bore license plates from the border province of Boros in Russia, adjacent to Ukraine's Kharkiv province. Russian rocket artillery blocked part of the road and fired rockets into the air as vehicles waited. On May 15th, AIOS reported that Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu became angry during a security cabinet meeting on May 9th, a day after U.S. President Joe Biden said large-scale attacks on Rafah in the Gaza Strip would cross a red line regarding U.S. aid. "We are not America's vassal state," Netanyahu reportedly said, according to 3 sources, including an aide to the Israeli prime minister. Netanyahu's reaction highlighted growing tensions in U.S.-Israel relations over the planned Rafah attack. President Biden had announced a halt to the transfer of over 3,500 bombs. Sources indicated that Netanyahu and Israeli Strategic Affairs Minister Ron Dermer were surprised by Biden's decision and public statement about the red line. A U.S. official said Washington had repeatedly conveyed its stance to Netanyahu and Dermer, warning against escalating attacks on Rafah. Dermer, who served as Israel's ambassador to the U.S. for 8 years, believes Biden would not follow through on cutting aid to Israel. This concludes the international news program with important and noteworthy information. Thank you for your attention. See you in the next program. Goodbye and have a great day.